Hello. In this journal entry, I'm going to be covering sections 4 and 5 of the Health Education Specialist Practice Analysis. Specifically, section 4.4 and 5.2, which cover development of the management of data and managing technology sources. So in section 4.4, collect and manage data, the subcompetencies are trained data collectors involved in evaluation and or research, collect data based on the evaluation or research plan, monitor and manage data collection, use available technology to collect, monitor, and manage data, and comply with laws and regulations when collecting, storing, and protecting participant data. For our assignment, we are supposed to consider if we were running a childhood obesity program in our community that included physical fitness activities and healthy eating. And the question was, what types of data would you want to collect on your participants in order to learn the effectiveness of your program? And how would you go about getting that information? So some of the types of data that I listed for myself were data on average diets of children at multiple ages in the community, and I would probably go about that by looking for some kind of community records or records within the state to discover average fitness in children. Another one was data on influences that affect childhood obesity, data on what foods best help with obesity, and I feel like I could find a lot of that online or on other scholarly resource websites. So people that have already done experiments on different kinds of food and how they affect metabolism and calorie loss or not calorie loss, but energy loss due to the calorie count. And so yeah, I feel like I could find a lot of that information online because I'm sure there have been many, many studies concerning that. Another one was data on what healthy foods kids respond to, as far as what, not just what's good for them, but what are they actually willing to eat. As a mom of two kids that struggle with being picky, I feel like this would be a really important one, especially if you were doing childhood obesity in younger kids, getting them foods that they are comfortable with but are still healthy for them, and then gradually getting them into more and more healthy options, I feel would be a really good way to expose kids to a healthier lifestyle. Another one was data on what exercises kids respond to. And this is another one that I feel I could probably go online, or even maybe going to school systems in the area. I bet like the physical education teachers would be able to assist with that. And if we were going into like maybe like older kids, or even into like the adolescent range, getting into like coaches and like their input on what has worked with them as far as exercise in kids and physical fitness. So yeah, those might be some avenues that I would go. Oh, and another one that I feel like needs to be mentioned is data on mental health statuses in children, and the comparison of that to obesity problems, because I feel like a lot of the time there are some mental things that can be taken into account when a child is overeating, because I mean, for many people in the world, stress causes you to eat, or it doesn't cause you to eat. It really depends on who you are. So yeah, those are some of the types of data that I would collect. So that's 4.4. The other one that we were told to discuss was competency 5.2, which was managing technology resources. Now for this one, I wasn't terribly sure what was being looked for. So the subcompetencies for 5.2 were assess technology needs to support health education and promotion, use technology to collect, store, and retrieve program management data, apply ethical principles in managing technology resources, and evaluate emerging technologies for applicability to health education promotion. So a couple of types of technology that I thought of, I'm not sure if all of them would even be necessary, but like cameras to record, if you were in the midst of a project, using a camera or some form of recording device to have a record of what progress is being made within a group if you were already working with one. Maybe a portable hard drive to store those recordings on as you collect your own personal data. Obviously, a computer or a laptop with programs for management data and presentations, that would be essential in delivering what data you have to others, and then being able to manage the data that you have. A projector for presentation purposes. I mean, I feel like that's pretty standard as well. Maybe in your own personal experiments as you're gathering data, maybe some kind of heart rate device or other health monitorization devices. If you were working with kids in childhood obesity, maybe if they were all wearing some form of Fitbit, if you were doing an experiment to see their step count or what other kind of physical fitness, what their heart rate's at as it improves, those kind of things. Let's see. And then the only other thing I could think of was any other technological devices that might be suggested in group planning for a project on childhood obesity. I'm sure there are a lot more out there, and I would love to become aware of those as more projects come my way. So yeah, so those are some of the things. And then the final question was consider the proper ethical and legal principles that need to be upheld during collection. So there were only a couple that I could think of. Obviously, I mean, I feel when it comes to ethics, I feel like a lot of it comes down to if you have a good conscience, you will know what is expected as far as ethical principles. So obviously, if you're gathering data and somebody doesn't want to have their information shared with other people, you keep it confident. That's pretty standard. You don't share what people don't want to be shared. If they are okay with it, but they want to be anonymous, you keep their name out of it, but you share the data. If they are completely fine with all of it being shared, then you share it, and but you respect them and you give them the credit for it. And that was the next thing on my list, is give credit where credit is due. If you are doing research and all of the data that you are finding is your own or through your own experimentation, then you can take credit for it. But if somebody else has had a hand in it, or all of the data has been collected by somebody else, you give them the credit. You don't take it for yourself. And then, of course, the legal aspects of gathering records, whether they're by the community, whether they're by the state, whether they're within an organization or a company, you abide by their standards and you never do anything illegally. This makes it to where everything is copacetic for everyone, and you don't have to be looking over your shoulder as you're giving presentations. So yeah, I think that covers everything. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!